Alright, I'm gonna try to keep this one a bit shorter than the last one, but oh, I don't know if you can hear me. There we go. I said I'm gonna try to keep this one a bit shorter than the last one, but we'll see how it goes. So, recently, and by recently I mean today, I've just had this idea about how overpowered having like little children in your pause, having little children in your proximity is. Okay, hear me out, hear me out. So, I have a lot of little cousins, right? And what I decided to do was I decided to start a computer and like programming sort of like online, mm, started to give online lessons to them for computer programming. And that made me realize I can just groom these, pause, I can just groom these children into being like 10x devs. And then I have like four 10x developers at my fingertips. I can just teach them Vim motions by default. They don't need to learn a GUI and then transfer to like Linux. I can just teach them Linux from the get-go. And that's actually like a really powerful concept in my opinion. The idea of like a clean foundation that in a few years is going to have a really big payoff. And people don't really think about this now. It's all about like the instantaneous revenue or the instantaneous whatever gain you make from an amount of effort that you put into something. But if you really think about it, actually, like having a family and like having your own family and, your relatives, that's kind of meta and even your friends, because that way like, let's say this generation, there's four kids that I groom into 10x developers. And then in like 15 years, each of them have one or two kids, and then they groom those into 10x developers. And now our techno capital has increased from four to like maybe like what, 20, like 20. We're at like 200x. And we can, the greatest part about this is that it's all in family, so you don't have to trust anyone basically. You groom, okay, I'm saying groom a lot, but you raise these people from birth, or at least from a very young age, so you can trust them. There's no sort of, extra like level of whatever that you have to do. And another cool thing is that I can just, have them do free labor for me. I mean, they're nowhere near like being 18, they're still very young, like 6 to 8. But in a few years, like I've gotten their GitHub set up. I've gotten, some things set up for them, their Linux machines and stuff. In a few years, they're going to be like my own personal Claude code agents, just like four Claude code agents running perpetually. Well, in their time zones when they're not at school or whatever. And yeah, I just think people don't really think about that much, and it's it's a pretty neat idea that in 10 years time, let's say there's 20 10x developers that report directly to you that you're in command of. And this isn't just like there's 20 people. This is like there's 20 people who have the power to legitimately change something in the world. Because think about you and me for a second. Think about like even through our circumstances, even if our lives weren't fully optimized for, let's say, tech or business or leadership or whatever, we were still able to get past that, and we were able to arrive to um, a level where we're able to think about this stuff, and we're in or trying to get into positions of power. That itself is, uniquely great. But imagine how much more outreach just one person who has that platform, who's standing on the shoulders of you, for example, would have to be able to change things in the world. And there's like ethical implications of this, obviously, teaching them to be moral, teaching them to be just. But also you can just like do whatever you want. You have 20 like techno aristocrats basically in 20 years time, maybe 30 years time. And then after that, it just keeps growing, and it keeps growing, and it keeps growing, and it keeps growing. And I don't even know what's the end goal, But see, I said again. I've been saying since last video, you know. I'm trying to stop. I really am. It's kind of difficult, but we all there it is again. We all improve. We all sort of go through different processes to get better at speaking. So that's it. There it is. Tried to keep this one a bit shorter, but didn't really work out. All right. See y'all.